Hi, it's Felicia, and welcome back to another video. Today, I really wanted to get some spring planning done. I did a soft goal winter plan with me, which was really fun. I honestly don't even know if I would call what I did planning. I mean, I did plan, but it was very minimal because I really wanted a chill winter. And I definitely achieved that. And I definitely focused on the few little things that I set out. And at the beginning of this year, I read the 12-week year. Well, I did not finish reading it, but I got enough from it that I felt good and implemented the few lessons that I learned in the last, January to March, essentially. It's ending this week. Some of the language I didn't really subscribe to in the book, just in terms of the intensity of deadlines and stuff, but I did really like learning about how a big company might finish literally so many of its goals between November and December just because of the idea of the deadline being there. But that's their the biggest growth because they're really trying to do all this stuff. And so implementing the idea of deadlines in a shorter scale helps you do a lot more. And then part of the entire point also was just focusing on a few things in the smaller deadlines instead of focusing on a ton of things. That way you get the needle moved really big in just a few things, and you can see the progress and continue being excited about that. I really liked that takeaway, and I do feel like the few things I decided to work on this winter, which was writing and a little bit more intensely on YouTube. I wouldn't say intensely. I had more fun on YouTube. And I try to keep it the most fun I can for myself because that's the whole goal with it for me. I really, enjoyed that aspect of it. And I think the biggest difference between how I used to plan and how I plan now is that I never beat myself up if I don't meet the deadline or goal, which was other language in the book that I didn't really agree with, or it just didn't land with me in terms of this intensity, because obviously February was a really hard month for me and I didn't really stick to my goals or whatever, but I also didn't beat myself up about it. And I think that overall is the most important thing. Just doing your best and not beating yourself up when you are still doing your best. It's just not how you thought it might be because life happens. So I'm going to essentially talk about what my goals are, but I will throw in some B-roll of some stuff and actually planning just to make it more visually interesting for you because I know I love to chat. So I used to plan all the time, and now ever since 2020, I stopped planning a lot, come to a different head of it where I know that if I don't plan as much, things might happen that I really want to do. I might go on this trip. I might write this book. I might start a YouTube. I didn't plan to start YouTube. That just happened, I might do all these fun things. And typically the motivation does happen in the fun and play. So obviously leaving most room for that. But I've also learned if I don't really get down to what I want my priorities to be, I will just do other things, or I will forget about the thing I really want to do. Then it'll just slip by. Time slips so fast. Especially the older you get. It's already March and yeah, time flies, whatever. I don't want it to slip away and forget what I wanted to do. That's kind of my effort, is I really want to focus on the things that I obviously actually want to do, but really making the next 3 months a top priority of a few things so I can make these really big dents in them and feel really accomplished rather than really trying to focus on everything. The needle, I don't know, the needle might move, but I can just find it really hard for my brain to see anything in we're trying to work on everything. So to this spring, I don't really have any yearly goals. I think that's just too broad. I don't know what I want to do all year, and I feel Sometimes I might feel differently different years, but sometimes trying to reach some big goal can stop me from just the fun in the moment things that I end up doing. Like last year was YouTube. I'm just gonna focus on literally like April through June. What do I want to do? Obviously, I feel like YouTube is my top priority in a way. It's something I keep coming back to every week. It's something I think about all the time. It's something I just have really loved doing the last like 9 months, which is crazy. I didn't really did not see that coming. And so YouTube's top, but I feel like YouTube is such a big, grand thing that it helps me to kind of narrow down what do I want to focus on within YouTube. For now, I feel like I would just continue learning what I like to create. I feel like almost all of my videos have different themes, different energies. Nothing is really landing the exact same in a sense that's like, oh yes, I want to do this video a ton. And I don't think it ever will. That's kind of why I decided to start as a vlog channel, I guess. So I had this room to basically do whatever I wanted and learn the little fun things that I like to share. I definitely really want to focus more on maybe food content this upcoming spring, but also garden stuff. And I've been book writing a lot, really just honing it in. I think another thing that I am starting to learn with YouTube, just for me, for viewers, like it's kind of both, because sometimes I'm like, who am I creating for? And I want it to be good for both parties. I want to enjoy creating it and I want it to be enjoyable to watch. But obviously I can't be a viewer to my own work. So it can be a little hard, but I try to take in what I like to view. But then I also remember that like you don't have to create what you enjoy consuming, but there's still little micro lessons in every video that I watch that I'm like, oh, that's kind of how she like did this, like that's kind of a cool editing style, whatever. But I do want to focus on like one one theme for each video. I think that will help me connect with more people, be more digestible, I guess. And I think that would help me to, I think it would be a creative challenge to not just film my whole day and then like be like, oh, this was kind of the point of this. And I love that. But I think there can be too many things going on sometimes to really nail in a theme that's watchable, that makes sense. I need to have a fun video and a more themed, like maybe just switch back and forth. Like I think that would help challenge me and still be fun, still be very real, just documentary one video, still be creatively challenging and fun the next video. And that would almost help me grow a little bit, but it's not about the numbers, it's not about the metrics. I am here to document and connect and inspire, I want to say. As long as it feels like that's happening, it doesn't matter if I'm still at 293 subscribers, which is what I'm currently at, because I know that I am connecting with those people. And obviously there's always non-subscriber viewers within every video. So whether or not someone's like, hell yeah, or they just want to watch one and go on, I will never know what the metrics actually mean. But I can gauge it sometimes with like comments or people messaging me on Instagram or whatever. So if you ever want to chat, I'm here. I would love to connect. Yeah, that's kind of my YouTube goal, is to obviously still have some fun things, but kind of challenge myself with more dedicated videos. And then I would love to continue focusing on my book. I started that in March, and I would just really love to continue focusing on that book the next 3 months. And yeah, like I said, I would love to focus on the garden this year. My partner said he's gonna build me some garden beds, and yeah, we need to plan that out and get that going, because obviously that's so seasonal and so finite. And that's another thing. I started my garden pretty late last year and it was still great, but I definitely didn't really get a harvest, and I would love to harvest and can. I think my minimum goal is to grow, harvest, and can a year's worth of tomatoes. Yeah, I would love to, at minimum, grow as many tomatoes as I need in a year. That'd be so cool. So yeah, I think that's my gardening goal. Get some beds up, get some at least tomatoes going. I would love my herb bed back for just like kitchen herbs. I love fresh herbs and cooking and stuff. And I think that's another thing, cooking. I would love to learn a few more recipes, and I guess focus on learning new recipes. Maybe metrically make it one new meal a week would be really fun. I could honestly even make that a whole series or something on YouTube. If any of these goals you're like interested in seeing like documented, if you're interested in any topics and you're like, yes, please make that a video, let me know. Ooh, I feel like prioritizing really fixing up the front porch for porch time would be like, I just really want to make it a little oasis and maybe get some shade plants that go really well outside. I don't know. I have visions and visions on days. I think YouTube's top, and then the next layer is probably my book, and the next layer is new recipes. Maybe gardening before new recipes even, because I can always learn new recipes. I can't always harness the garden season. So, yeah, YouTube, writing, gardening. If I can, I want to learn some new recipes. How I like to go about planning. I don't even know if those are real plans. I mean, they are, but I feel like really looking at that, breaking down the weeks for the next 3 months. When could I really focus on this? When do I want there to be a bigger like kickstart leg on this journey? How do I metrically know that I'm sticking to this? Because that was a mistake that I feel like I had made in the 12-week year, starting in January. I was like, I'll get this many subscribers by March. And then, like, a few weeks in, I was like, I actually can't control that at all. I can only control how many videos I put out, how, like, well I do them, how, like, the idea behind them, etc., etc. So really looking at like what can you control within this goal, not what outside validation will make you feel good, I guess. That was my little plan with me. I hope you enjoyed this editing style, and I'm just really excited now for spring. And I also will say I really like the 12-week year for this reason. I do feel like this almost excuse, even though anyone could do this, whether they were doing the 12-week year or not, whatever. I do feel this excuse to like revive my ideas, refresh my planning palette, and refocus on like what I actually want to be doing. Like I just feel like there's an excuse built in to do it because, oh, my 12-week year has ended. Let's hit the reevaluate button and see what's next. And that feels so thrilling for my little brain that like craves the change and the goals, but then also still being kind of kind and like, okay, how does this metric actually work? How do you view success within this? And yeah, go from there. Be kind to yourself. If I do none of these things, I still know that I'm a valuable human. I'm worth being loved. I'm accepted by myself. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but it is fun to really know that I am prioritizing the things that I deeply desire. Yeah, it looks like the sun is out right now, so I want to go hang out there because it's been cloudy the last few days. So I will catch you in the next video. And thank you so much for watching.